Hello, this is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane. Welcome to our 5th tone and breath class. So this is number 5 of 5. Today in this class we're concentrating on our glute muscles, so our bottom cheeks. We'll be toning our bottom cheeks, our legs, tummies, always tummies. A few all body toners as well, but the main concentration will be on the glutes. The breathing technique we will be practicing today is called 3-part breathing. And primarily what that does is that helps us to improve our lung capacity, and it actually teaches us about ourselves and our breathing, whether we find it difficult to inhale as opposed to exhale, which is often more the case than not, or the opposite, where you tend to inhale a lot and you don't exhale enough. So it's a really interesting way of getting to know you and your breath and how it works. Our breathing rhythm is usually habitual. Over time they become habit. It's not a natural way to breathe because of the way our environment we live in. If it's a fast-paced culture, you'll breathe faster, you'll be more of a chest breather. If you're in a slower pace and it's very warm, things will be a little bit slower and sluggish maybe. So it's just an interesting observation, and we'll talk more about that, why it's so important to be able to change the rhythm of our breath so it's a little bit more harmonious. Okay. So let's get started. So finding your comfortable seat, wiggling around a little bit, finding taking the extra flesh from underneath the sit bones, finding those sit bones, and then settling down. Very first thing we do in any yoga practice, and most yoga practices, this is your opportunity to step away from whatever you were doing and come right onto the mat and recenter and refocus on yourself. So entering from the external world into the inner world. Let your eyes close if that's available to you. And begin to just observe the breath. Taking a deep breath in and out. And the next time we take a breath out, I want you to, without opening your eyes, take your one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. 3-part breathing. As you breathe in, let the belly expand, then work your way up to the middle of the body, and then up all the way up to the solar plexus. So as if you're trying to bring the breath as high as the collarbones. So get to the collarbones, and then as you exhale, you start at the chest, the collarbones, and you work your way to the middle, and the very last thing you do is pull the belly in. So 3-part breathing. So take a breath in, let the belly soften, and then let the breath rise and rise and rise until it gets to the collarbones. And once it hits your collarbones, exhaling, starting with the collarbones, working your way down to the middle, and the very last thing you do is pull the belly in. So do 2 more of these on your own, at your own pace. Always breathing in through the nose, exhaling through the nose or the mouth. And take one more breath, one more set. And whenever that is done, don't rush it. Whenever you're completed that last set, release your hands back onto your thighs. Take a few breaths in the Ujjayi breath we learned in the 4th session, which was just before this. So breathing in, creating that ah sound at the back of the throat. And then exhaling the ah as you exhale, as if you're fogging up a piece of glass. Evening out the inhalation and exhalation. And the next inhalation, gently open your eyes. And we're going to, if you happen to be sitting on something, you can come off of it. Extend your legs just for a moment to stretch out the legs. Rub them. Use your hands to kind of wake them up. So whatever part of the day you're actually doing your yoga, you might find you're tight, especially in the morning, but even in the evening. Recross your legs. Take your hands on your knees. If this doesn't work for you, you can always place the feet flat and the knees pointing up. We're doing cats and cows, seated cats and cows. Hands on the knees, take a breath in, lift up and forward. Soften the shoulders down, arching that back. And then as you exhale, press into the knees and lean back, rounding the tummy. So bringing the tummy in, scooping it in towards the spine, chin to chest. Then inhale, lead with your chest and arch your lower back. And then exhale, press back, feeling the tummy become a kind of scooping out that tummy so that you're actually working these abdominal muscles. As you inhale, arch the lower back. Do 2 more sets at your own pace, using the breath and movement together. So breath and movement equals what means flow, or vinyasa in Sanskrit. So it's when you merge the two. Let's inhale nice and tall, and let's just let ourselves fold forward over our legs. Just for a pause here. 2 deep breaths here, 2 ujjayi breaths. Inhaling and exhale. Stretching out, feeling this wonderful sense of, I'm here. Nothing to worry about. Once you're on your mat, that's your sacred space. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, slide the hands towards you, but keep your back rounded. Keep your chin tucked. Once the hands touch your knees, then begin to lift up, realign your spine. Crown of the head lifts. Now spin around, come onto your hands and knees, and walk your feet until they tap the back of your mat. Reach your arms forward. The knees can be wide if you'd like, or closer together. Stretch through those arms. Let your forehead rest on the ground. Let's take 2 deep breaths here, 2 ujjayi breaths, inhaling and exhaling. So if you've missed the ujjayi and you're wondering what is she talking about, just go to day 4 of the breathe and tone, and that will explain it. Even just at the very beginning, and then you can come back to this. Inhaling into your tabletop. And I want you to walk your hands forward and lower yourself down onto the ground. So your pubic bone lowers down, come onto those forearms. We're going to do a little simple flow that works your back and tummy muscles. So take a breath in, lift your chest forward first, then exhale, lower down. Slide the hands next to your chest. Now just pick your tailbone up. If it's not going to come, you're not going to be able to lift it forward. And then push yourself back up into your child's pose. That's the first thing. Keep your arms nice and long, elbows off the ground. Take a breath in. Now I want you to slide forward, looking towards your thumbs. As if this reminds me of a cat trying to, when it sees a mouse. And I want you to keep your tailbone lifted, lower, 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 lower. The tailbone is the very last thing to come down. Pubic bone's the last thing, and lower down. Once the pubic bone touches the ground, lift your heart forward as if you're trying to get that heart through your arms. Then exhale, lower all the way down to the ground. Slide the hands right next to your chest. Push into those arms. Take your tailbone, lift it up, and lift up all the way back. We're going to do one more set. Keep the arms forward, look forward, try and slither. Get as close to the ground as you can. Almost touching. It takes a lot of muscular work to do this, sliding forward. And then the tailbone lifts and then lower down, inhaling into the Sphinx pose. Elbows resting, reach your chest forward. And then lower down, place the hands next to your chest. First, pick your tailbone up and then lift up. Eventually, your tummy and your back muscles become stronger and you'll be able to slide back much easier. Rest for one full breath in a child's pose. Allow the arms to settle down. Inhaling and exhaling. So why breathing is so important? Because yoga actually means breath. It's yoke, which means inhale to your tabletop, which means yoking the head and the body together, which means you needed the breath to do so. Curl the toes under here and press back into your extended child's pose. Stay here or follow me up into the downward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Just coming for a few stretches here, taking a breath in. You can pedal your feet if you'd like. Bend one knee and straighten the other leg. You can do that, or you can take both legs and bend them and straighten. So every time you straighten the legs, breathe in and out. Inhale, bending. And if the breathing is too complicated, just do what you can do. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lower the knees to the ground. Wherever you might be in your table, come into your tabletop. Walk your hands a little further forward so you have room behind you. You're going to take your left knee, pick it off the ground, right knee is stable. Bring that right knee in towards your forehead. Hold, and then place the top of the foot on the ground and just slide it back behind you and straighten it. But keep the foot on the ground. Then curl the toes under. Staying here. With the toes curled under, begin to rock forward and backwards, stretching out that left calf. Little gentle rocks, warming up those toes. So this is a toner, a glute toner, you'll see, and hamstring toner. Come back to neutral. Now pick your left leg up, flex that left foot and bend your left knee. Make sure the knee and the hip are in line with one another. Left foot, the heel is kicking upwards. Now we're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you lift the foot a little higher. There's not much movement here. Then you lower down. Back to neutral, inhale up, and then exhale back to neutral, inhale up. Exhale back to neutral, inhale up, and exhale back to neutral. Hold. Now, open that left knee out to the side, to the left side. Look over your left shoulder. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bring your left knee in towards your left shoulder, and then press back and straighten that leg, but keep yourself twisted, so that your left hip is open. Exhale, knee to elbow or shoulder, and then reach. You can come onto your forearms if you find this is way too much. One last time, bend, and then keep the bend, maintain that, and straighten your left leg out to the left side. Now heel toe that left foot in a little bit until your left knee is bent to about a 90-degree angle. And we're going to either stay on our hands or lower ourselves onto our forearms. You can place your forearms on blocks. This is more of a stretch of your hip. Maybe little wiggles from side to side. And let the breath flow in and out here. Ujjayi breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, walk your hands back up and just simply bring your left leg back in next to your right leg. Sit back for one breath in child's pose. Keep your arms active. Reach your arms forward. Forehead resting on the ground. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lift back up into your tabletop. I will swing around so you can see me on a little bit easier. You can stay where you are. So, and you can come onto your forearms if the wrists are finding it a little too difficult. Now what I want you to do is slide your right knee in towards your forehead, round up like a little cat stretch, and then place the toes on the ground and slide the foot back as far back as you can until it's straight. Then curl the toes under. And from here, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, rock forward and backwards. The crown of the head is reaching forward. I'm being very precise because these are important things to think about. You'll get the most out of it. So now come back to stillness. This time lift your right leg up to hip height, not higher than the hip or lower, and bend your right knee. The heel is kicking up towards the ceiling, sole of the foot lifts up. Now all you're doing here is taking a breath in, and you're lifting the foot up just a little bit, maybe a half an inch, maybe even smaller. Inhale up and exhale, just come back to neutral, back to the hip. Inhale, lift, and back, exhale down, just neutral. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. One more time, inhale up, and this time open the knee out to the right side. And then look towards your right knee, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bring your right knee towards your right shoulder or elbow, and then press away, but keep your body in this shape. And then exhale, knee to shoulder, and inhale, stretch. And then knee to shoulder, hold, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, take your right foot, straighten it, but out to the right side. And then flatten out that foot, heel toe that right foot in a little bit, and then let yourself sink down into this this hip flexor stretch, hip opener. And let the breath flow in and out. This feels really good. So 30 minutes, even less really when you think about it, probably about 25 minutes. Maybe even less than that, 22 minutes of your time each day. Come back up and then just slide your right knee back in. Sit back into a child's pose for one breath, but keep your arms stretching forward. Wake up those arms and take an inhale and exhale into your tabletop. And curl the toes under, sit back to your heels. Some of you stay here, some of you will follow me in downward dog. Another option for downward dog is you can come onto the forearms instead of the wrists, because some of us, our wrists are quite weak for many reasons. So take a breath in, and as you breathe out, find your way, walk to the front of the mat, coming all the way to the front, and let yourself hang here. Take a few breaths here, cradling the opposite hand to the opposite elbow. And let yourself breathe in and out. Let it all out. Inhaling and exhale. Decompressing the spine, stretching out the backs of the legs, and also our glutes. Now from here, hopefully you can do this, interlace the hands, place them on the back of the head. So where the skull and the neck meet, that's where I want your hands. Your thumbs are resting against
those muscles that you can actually feel at the back of the neck. Let the elbows drop down. Now what we're doing here is this traction exercise. Just let your head hang down. Don't tug on it with your hands. If you can't do this with your arms, just continue to hold on to the opposite elbow. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, leave your hands where they are if possible. If not, just take them off and then roll up one vertebra at a time, ragdoll roll, until you reach up into your Tadasana, your standing pose. And press your head into your hands. I'll spin around just so you can see me. And what you're doing is opening up the heart, and you're pressing your hips forward. This should feel pretty good. And then keep your hands where they are, but lift up nice and tall, and then stretch over to the right. So this is something I think we did the very first breathe and tone session, but we'll do it again since our hands are here. And look up towards your left elbow. That adds a little extra stretch in your left side of your chest. And then inhale, lift back up, and exhale to the other side. I actually feel this stretch, and maybe look up to the right elbow, and then lift back up. And then reach the arms up, and then let the arms float to the sides. Take your shoulders, inhale, roll them up and back, loosening up those shoulders. Inhale, lift up and roll back. Inhale, lift and roll back. And let's go forward, forward rolls, inhale up and roll forward. Now, we're going to come into our tree pose, another strengthener. It requires the whole body to be pretty strong. You can take a hand on a wall if you'd like, or on a chair. Right foot on the left ankle. Stand here for a moment. Find your balance. Toes are resting on the ground. Hands are at your heart. Now, if that's just enough, stay there. If not, bring the foot a little higher to the calf or inside your left foot. Not on your make sure it's not on your knee joint. Now squeeze your bottom cheeks, fire up those glute muscles, lift up nice and tall, either with support, or without. And maybe you can reach the arms up to the sky, tree. And look to something that's not moving on the ground. And let the breath flow here. And every time you feel like you're about to fall, squeeze the bottom cheeks. Those will fire up the muscles in your legs, your core. And all the muscles are shaking. And then bring your hands to your heart and then lower that right foot down. Let's do a few little just shakes of the hips, the ankles. And then let's come back up into our tree. On the other side, left foot on the right ankle, hands to heart, choose a wall, and then place the foot either anywhere but the knee. Once you've found that spot, squeeze your bottom cheeks together, lift up tall, hands to heart, maybe being supported on a wall. And maybe lifting your arms up, looking to the ground with a soft gaze, softening the shoulders down. Powerful pose for your whole body. Whole body toner. Lots of things are happening here. Feel the power of your body here. And if you're falling, you come back and you try again. Bring your hands to your heart. And place your left foot down and do some little sways. Took me a long time to be able to hold that without holding onto a wall. So if you're struggling, it's part of the learning process. Your body has to learn how to balance on one leg.
It's not easy. We don't do that often. So be careful that you don't judge yourself, you don't start to get angry at yourself, frustrated, because I can do it, but you can't do it. I wasn't able to do it for a long time. I was a beginner once. Actually, I'm always a beginner, because I'm always learning. Inhale, let's spin the palms up to the sky. We're back to the front of the mat. If you have moved, reach the arms up and exhale, forward fold. Let's stretch out the backs of the legs. You're going to feel a lot of stretching. Let's step back into your downward dog. If you're not a downward dog person, then you can go right into that extended child's pose. But try a downward dog every once in a while to strengthen your arms and your legs, and then lower the knees to the ground. Come onto your forearms just for one breath. Interlace the hands, slide your knees back. Some of us, our knees stay on the ground in your forearm plank. Some of us are going to lift the knees up. If your knees are up or down, you do the same. You take your tailbone, lengthen it towards your heels. Soften the shoulders down. Look beyond your hands. My hands are interlaced. You don't have to interlace. You can separate them, which is a little bit more challenging. Press into the arms, lift up, and then lower the knees down. And then walk your hands towards your knees. And then come onto your right hip and swing your legs forward. You could hold that longer. Just keep holding it. You could turn me off and then finish up the class. Take your bottom to your heels, and then either with support of the hands behind your knees, or keep your arms off the, in the air, lower yourself onto your backs. Stretch your arms away from the legs. Nice long stretch. Place the feet back on the ground with the knees pointing up. Hug your knees into your chest, little rocks from side to side. And then keep your right knee into your chest. Just extend your left leg on the ground. Let it drop down. Place your right foot on your left thigh, a slightly different spinal twist. Let your arms out to the sides. Let your right knee drop to the left. It most likely will not touch the ground. You want both shoulders resting on the ground. Maybe also turn your gaze to the right, or keep your gaze upwards. This is what we do just before we go into our final resting pose, and then come back onto your back. Hug your both knees into your chest. Keep your left knee in. Extend your right leg. Left foot on your right thigh. Open the arms out to the sides and take your left knee and cross it over. It doesn't touch the ground. Mine isn't touching the ground, most likely. Don't try and get it to touch the ground. Make sure both shoulders are resting on the ground. So that might mean your left knee has to come up a little higher. Be careful not to force any twist, ever. If you feel any twinge of pain, come out of it. And then slowly, let's take both knees, hug them in one last time, and then prepare for Shavasana. So place your left foot to the left corner of the mat, right foot to the right corner of the mat. Let the arms open up with the palms facing up. And you can always put a blanket on yourself. Have it handy for your Shavasana. And for the next 2 to 5 minutes, let yourself be. Nothing more to do. Closing the eyes. If you have any residual tension, let it out. Let it out your mouth. Let it out anywhere, it doesn't matter. And I will allow you stay there, and I will come up and I will seal the practice for today, for this final part of this tone and breath series. With new series coming on board, I have loads of 5 classes that I keep recording, so feel free to look through my YouTube videos Try and do it consecutively because you'll learn a lot. Start from the very first and work your way to the 5th. Subscribe so that you'll know, you'll get it it helps to subscribe because you'll get an indication of when I add a new video, but it also helps my channel. The more subscriptions, the more I get followers. I mean, it's just the whole social media thing. And I love comments because I learn from comments, and thumbs up. Always, like, give me a thumbs up. So that's for YouTubers. For my live classes, which I'm actually recording now live, if you'd like to join me give that a try, to do it 5 consecutive days, go to my yoga with RebeccaJane.com, and that will give you an idea of what we have to offer for mornings, lunchtime, and we have evening classes that are 60 minutes, and Saturday. So as I bring my hands in front of my heart to seal the practice for this session. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Namaste. I'll see you soon.